Hello, and welcome to the Pinfall podcast. I'm your host, Liz, and I'm joined, as always, by my other host, Mark.
Is this the first podcast with the brand new chair?
Oh, new chair!
Beautiful gift from Elizabeth.
I have no money.
Not anymore.
Putting that chair together felt like defusing a bomb. Oh my dear God.
Literally said, do not touch this lever no matter what.
It specifically was like, if you touch this one lever, so help us God, your chair will explode and you will not get to sit in it. It also states that you cannot sweat in it. You cannot let animals near it, which kind of sucks for cat.
You can't sit with your bare skin on it.
No bare skin. And in order to certify the warranty, you have to shamelessly plug them on your social media, which I think is hilarious.
You have to take a picture of the chair, post it on social media, tweet at them, and say, gimme warranty.
They're like, did you touch the lever? And you're like, yes. And they're like, no. I sat in the chair for about an hour after we built it. I can confirm it's worth becoming a shill for. Can this count as your... Okay, bye. The pillow, by the way, is memory foam. Didn't realize that. Just kind of bought it because I was like, haha, I love showboating with gifts. It's my only pleasure.
This episode of the Pinfall podcast sponsored by Secret Labs.
Does that count as you getting your warranty? And you just send them this video and be like, make sure this doesn't break.
Just kidding. We're not actually sponsored by Secret Labs.
Maybe one day. Definitely not today.
Yeah.
But yes, Mark has a new chair. I have same old chair with Seth Rollins shirt on the back. You can't even see it because it's so low.
Yep.
I was gonna wear my Seth Rollins shirt, and then I said, maybe not today. Anyways, we're talking about Raw tonight. We're talking about good old Monday Night Raw. Or like Monday Night hurt my feelings. God, every goddamn week with this shit now.
Mike asked, was Raw in your face? That's what I was told. It was in Drew's face.
I was personally hoping that Raw in your face meant that Drew McIntyre was going to personally come through my TV and Claymore kick me until I was no longer conscious. But that didn't happen, so I'm actually pretty disappointed in the outcome.
Bobby Lashley would come in full Nelson, one of us.
Oh God, if only me. I need that stretch.
All right, we have news to talk about.
One time I had Mark show me what a full Nelson felt like because I just didn't understand how it hurt, and our cat saw it, and she was like, nope, and she just ran out of the room. It's amazing.
Right before this podcast, Liz says, can we please,
oh, that 5-second tangent's really gonna throw us off today.
We're already 13 minutes in.
Oh my God, you want to talk about new chair. So I let you talk about your new chair.
I talked very briefly.
Oh my God.
So news?
You want to talk about the news?
No.
Okay. If you let me commit to this bit, it's just going to be 5 extra minutes on the news.
Okay.
You realize that, right? So, let me get through some stupid pieces of news. First things first, we're probably going to see Bayley and Sasha in a match at Hell in a Cell. It looks like that's what we're leading up to. I imagine what's going to actually happen first is Sasha's coming back Friday, so Sasha's probably going to be like, I want the belt. And then we're going to have that match, and then from there, it's just going to end up being a Hell in a Cell match. I think Hell in a Cell is a silly goddamn review.
Is Hell in a Cell October?
I believe so.
Maybe it'll be Halloween themed.
I just think it's silly to call it Hell in a Cell. Not all the matches take place in the cell.
The cell is the Thunderdome and the WWE contract that restrains you.
Like, I recognize that all Money in the Bank matches are not about the Money in the Bank contract. However, you specifically told me where this match is supposed to be taking place. You told me it's in a cell. And if I tune in and there's a match not happening in a cell...
So is this like the news part, or...
Okay, when I said I wanted you to push me through this quickly, I did not mean it like that. I'm going to take longer. I'm only hurting myself, but I don't care.
Hell in a Thunderdome.
So AJ Styles wants to fight Triple H and is also not a fan of CM Punk. This is just news I wanted to add in because I think it's really funny to think of AJ Styles being like, I want to fight Triple H. Also, I can imagine that his personality plus CM Punk's personality is not exactly copacetic.
Do you know why AJ Styles hates CM Punk?
I think you told me, and now I can only just imagine that it's got to do with Flat Earth.
No. So when the Black Lives Matter movement was kind of kicking off a couple months ago, CM Punk was like pointing out all these like superstars, not naming names, and he was saying that they're not using their platform for good. And then and somebody asked him like, so you mean like AJ Styles? And then he said, oh yeah, that's obvious. Indirectly implying that he's racist. And AJ Styles is very upset with that.
Be totally fair.
We don't make these kind of accusations on the show.
I'm just saying. We aren't making these accusations. I am. I just say that I don't really know where AJ Styles' heart is at, and that's that. At the same time, though, CM Punk does kind of seem like the type of guy where it's like you sit with him at a bar for like not at a bar, I guess, at a restaurant for 5 minutes, and you're like,
at a barn.
I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. I gotta get the check right the goddamn now. Furthermore, WWE filed trademarks for Ashante Adonis. I guess maybe, well, again, he has been in 205 Live. I guess maybe his match with Velveteen Dream was less of a jobber type match and more of maybe like a grand re-unveiling.
So, as in, like, he's gonna be on NXT more?
I think that's the vibe that I'm getting here. I think that they want to start making, because like they don't have like a 205 Live section of their merch store. I think they might be trying to push him more towards NXT to give him more of that spotlight.
Okay.
Which, frankly, after the other last week, right? I'm not saying.
Banius, no, we're only streaming on Twitch, but afterwards you can find the VOD of this podcast on our YouTube, the Pinfall Podcast, on YouTube.
VOD. But yeah, so they filed trademarks for Ashante Adonis and Desmond Troy. Which maybe if I watch more 205 Live, I would know who that is, I guess, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, I watched some 205 Live videos the other day, and I didn't see anybody by that name. All I saw was Adonis, Brian Kendrick, I think his name is. The big hairy dude.
That'll narrow it down for me.
Kind of looks like Killian Dane. And then like Oni Orkin. Oh no, not Oni Orkin. Everrise.
Oh, Brian Kendrick.
Yeah. Legato.
Kind of a weird looking little fucker.
I
remember seeing that one match with him for the Cruiserweight title, and I was like, Randy Orton announced that he is launching a new company called, as you probably could have guessed, maybe, not called Viper, it's called Slither, without the vowels. So it's just Slither. He showed off some of the new shirts. I'm not going to lie. I will definitely be buying one. I'm in love with the shirts. I really want one really badly. And I will pay whatever exorbitant price he is charging for it because I'm sure, just like any other merch store, it's going to be wildly expensive. I have no priorities. The cat doesn't need to go to college, so I'm not saving up.
Just medication. That's her college tuition.
We had a year's worth of medication for free. And suddenly the vet's like, that's $20.
For 30 days.
And I said, all right. I was like, I guess if it stops her from peeing on stuff, sure. For me, that same medication would be $5. I'm not going to get into it. But this is not the cat podcast. Okay, so let's get into the two things I actually wanted to talk about. First things first. WrestleVotes acted like they had something special to say today. Which, to be fair, WrestleVotes has given us some pretty useful pieces of news in the past.
Mm-hmm.
There's been actually a couple of really big pieces of news I think that we've gotten from them over the history of this podcast, the short history, but one way or the other. But they tweeted that they can't disclose the name right now, but somebody in the WWE has decided not to sign a new deal. Which, ultimately, if you can't give me a name, if you can't give me a brand, if you can't give me a singular hint, is that really news? At this point, I feel like I can just assume that there could be like at least 5 WWE wrestlers that have decided just to not re-sign a contract. I feel like this has to do with AJ Styles saying, after my contract expires, I don't want to re-sign. I want to retire.
What if it's so stupid? What if it's Rusev? Like, obviously, he hasn't re-signed. And yes, Banius, our Twitter is at the Pinfall Cast.
But no, it's got to be somebody that hasn't been announced yet. And I'm just wondering if maybe it's Ray, honestly, because he may have only signed a short-term contract.
Yeah, I guess having Dominic kind of passing the reins off to him. Yeah, Dominic or Ray would make sense. Maybe it's Brock.
Brock's like, I am signing this contract so that you can announce that I signed this contract for one day, and that's it. Ta-ta!
Give me that one fight with John Johnson at WrestleMania, and then we're good. Vince is just like, who's John Johnson? He's a UFC fighter that apparently Brock really wants to fight.
Wait, are you thinking of the right person? Because isn't John Johnson the non-charismatic wrestler from Southpaw?
I'm pretty sure it's John Johnson. Jon Johnson.
Okay, let me look that up. I mean, if it is, that's a really funny.
Any names? Anybody? Am I?
I think you're wrong.
I'm wrong?
I think you're wrong. Yeah. I would love to see Brock Lesnar fight John Johnson, though.
Who plays John Johnson? Oh, John Jones. I think it's John Jones. Maybe.
John Johnson is oh god, who was he played by? Here we go. I've only got one other piece of news after this, so it's fine.
Oh wow. We're getting a number of follows right now.
What happened to us? What did we do?
Somebody's raiding us. Banius raid. Thank you everybody for the follows.
Oh, thank you. While we try to look up who played John Johnson in Southpaw. I feel like we actually have to talk about. Oh, TJ Perkins played John Johnson, but that is not who's fighting him. There is a UFC fighter that wants to fight him. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like they tweeted it. It's probably just for the speculation. I am sure that it is somebody. I'm sure that it is probably not, a Drew McIntyre. I'm sure it's not Seth Rollins. I'm sure it's not Randy.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe one day we're gonna look back at this podcast and be like, "Wow, Liz, you're really stupid." But I don't know. Especially with since they're still going on with the draft. They said especially with that still looming in the distance, I feel like it'd be really stupid to be like, unless you were an older wrestler that had gone through the ranks and been like, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it'd be weird to be like, yeah, there's just nothing here. Unless you have like a horrible problem with like upper management.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Retribution's here. We're getting like a huge raid, right? Like this is a lot of people.
Very stressful. I didn't plan for this.
Banius did like some kind of giveaway on Twitter and said to follow us for the giveaway. Giving away $10.
Thank you.
Thanks, Banius.
Yeah, thank you so much. Damn, we're only like probably actually way too far in already to say how far we am. Anyways, yep. I like talking. I'm really good at it. So my final piece of news is maybe we'll see how long these follows last. So Chris Jericho has denied that AEW wrestlers are constantly taking shots at WWE and are constantly talking trash. And I said, "Oh, Chris Jericho, I know you just came out with an article saying that you're still in touch with some people at WWE, and that's really nice of you. That's awesome." But also, so I do the news. I accumulate all of the articles that I'm going to go through. I go through a couple different venues on Twitter about this.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like every week I have a new article that's like, oh, this person from AEW, or this person from AEW, or this like higher up in AEW said X, Y, and Z about WWE. Every week, every other day at this point, because we usually do the podcast Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
No, I I just want to. I don't want you to go on too long with.
But I will keep it short. I'll keep it short. All I'm gonna say is that, including an article that was posted sometime around when we were watching Raw, this week alone, I went through Wrestle Talk's Twitter, and Wrestle Talk covers just about every major promotion.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think they cover WWE and AEW pretty much equally. Went through their entire Twitter for the last week. In the last week, there have been 6 articles where AEW, a member of AEW management or wrestler, has taken a shot at WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And 4, where it's been like an either passive-aggressive comment in reference to stuff happening at WWE, or just name-dropping WWE to like kind of sound like better off than the people over at WWE.
Mm-hmm.
0 articles about anyone at WWE being like, well, AEW sucks for this. It's like, Chris, this is mostly your fault because you're the one talking a lot of trash. Also, like, I just don't understand why it needs to be this competition when it could just be. I mean, I get it with like the ratings, at least, like for NXT on Wednesdays. It's like, you know, it doesn't have to be so hostile all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Chris Jericho to be like, we haven't been doing that. And then me and my dumb ass go through all these articles and I'm like, and yet. And yet you did. So wait, you want
to move on to the main event? Everybody, the matches and promos? All right. Today's Monday Night Raw. Thank you everybody for tuning into the podcast. We're talking about today's Monday Night Raw. In your face, as it was called.
Nothing was in my face. I don't understand it.
A lot of things were in Drew McIntyre's face. Also, I modded Mike to kind of hold the reins in this chat.
Does Mike know that you did?
Yeah, he says he's been deputized.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, he's a teacher off the clock now.
It's like sort of like when you're in detention or like in an after school program and you're just trying to study and there's like that one teacher that's like, please don't screw around. I'm begging you. I also want to go home. All right, Mark, do you want to lead us off with this first promo here with Mr. Mr. McIntyre.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. So I guess Drew McIntyre is just in the ring, leading us off. It's either Drew or Randy leading us off on Mondays now.
I'm happy for the reprieve from Randy's song for one night.
Yeah, we didn't get any Randy today at all.
We needed the break.
But yeah, we had Drew talking in the ring. I think he was just like talking shit to like Randy and Keith even. I think mostly Randy. And then is this where Keith comes out?
No. So Mr. Keith does not come out. However, Mr. Adam Pearce does.
Oh right, Adam Pearce comes out and is like, "You were not supposed to be there. You shouldn't have assaulted Randy Orton so many times when you weren't supposed to be there." And now he's in the hospital or local medical facility.
LMFAO.
And he basically changed up the Clash of Champions stipulation or the Clash of Champions match to now be if Randy Orton can't compete, the match later on, if Keith wins, the championship match at Clash of Champions would be Drew McIntyre versus Keith Lee for the WWE Championship.
You're also missing an important point here, where it was announced that the match at Clash of Champions will be an ambulance match.
What does that even mean? I'm hoping it means there's an ambulance and everyone and Drew and Randy or Keith or whatever are fighting in the ambulance as it's driving. That would be perfect. I know it's probably going to be just medical equipment around the ring with maybe an ambulance they can go inside, but I want them to fight inside of an ambulance.
Are we going to have like one of those like heart palpitation machines, like the
defibrillator?
Yeah. Are we gonna have one of those?
It's like Drew kills Randy, but then like Ric Flair runs out and brings him back to life. And then I know
how to use these. I used them on me.
Oh. Oh.
Hi, welcome, new followers. Also, Drew mentioned that he doesn't wear underpants, which is another thing that happened, and it's important to me to mention that happened.
He for some reason said like the Scottish. He
said, "You know what, Scots?"
Said it's like the Scottish don't wear underwear or something, and so it'd be really. He was talking about how the Claymore kick was born, and so like because he didn't wear underwear, he had to kind of kick his leg out and like lean back into it, so like
he was worried about his pants splitting.
Yeah, and then suddenly he was like, I have a great kick born now.
And literally, I want to quickly discuss this story. So he was like, let me tell you guys how the Claymore kick was born. He goes on to that, no context prior. There was no reason for him to jump into the story. He just said, I want to tell you guys the story. Sort of like your old grandpa does when he gathers you around the table and he's like, let me tell you kids a story real quick. And you're like, Gramps, we were just about to sit down to eat, and now the food's going to get cold. But he tells that story, and that's when Adam interrupts, so there's no reason to begin the story, and there's no payoff for the story.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, that jaw fracture really is not hurting him.
It will
not
later.
Not hurting him at all.
It will later. So do we want to move on to the first fight? I think we covered everything there.
Yes. So we go into Street Profits versus Shinsuke and Cesaro for the Invitational. That was 3 people from SmackDown coming over to Raw.
They hyped up,
and only 2 of them in an official capacity.
They hyped up the cross-brand Invitational, which ended up just being this tag team match, and maybe Braun Strowman on Raw Underground.
The thing is sitting here and kind of getting a breeze coming in, and I think that's because I feel the WWE draft approaching us rapidly. told you I'd bring this in.
Yeah,
I told you I would do this.
Liz made this joke while we were watching. I had the same reaction, and Liz said, I'm going to bring that up during the podcast. I'm going to make that same joke. And I'm like, oh, God. And I'm glad we're being rated as you deliver that joke. I hope all of the new people here enjoyed it. Thank you, Banius, for the raid. Much appreciated. Welcome, everybody.
Anyways, I'm just saying, I'm putting some things out there. I'm putting some things in the air. I just feel it. I feel it. I feel like we're getting close.
Reren's 2K20 says your eyeshadow's on point.
Thank you. I just started using my new Norvina palette.
Not sponsored.
We're gonna get one sponsor, fine. I don't think that they would ever sponsor a wrestling podcast, but
You never know.
fingers crossed. Also, the palette that's a couple years old now. So, anyways, so we right out of the gate, Cesaro comes through with a massive uppercut, and then gets Shinsuke in pretty quickly. Dawkins is in. Shinsuke stomps on Dawkins' head for a while Cesaro holds him. Then we get a drop kick.
There you go. One syllable at a time.
Then we get a drop kick to
One syllable.
and then we get a drop kick to Shinsuke from Montez. And then kind of an assisted moonsault of sorts to his torso.
Mm-hmm.
There's a double drop kick from Dox and Tez to Cesaro. Tez flies out of the ring, but he is caught by Cesaro and Shinsuke. One of the first people to do this, by the way. They haven't done... No one's really caught him in a while. And they slam him into the barricade, back and ribs first. We go to a commercial, we come back. Headlock on Montez from Cesaro. Cesaro throws Montez into the corner, runs at him, but Montez dodges him and sends Cesaro shoulder first into the post. Shinsuke and Dawkins are in together. Dawkins clotheslines Shinsuke and then does a spinning corkscrew elbow to him. Shinsuke is in the corner. He gets out of the way, dodges Dox, gets him up on the ropes, gets him on the ropes, and then pulls him down to the canvas. Yes.
Real quick, sorry for interrupting. We've reached over 110 followers now. Thank you so much to everybody who's followed, and Banias for orchestrating this raid. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Considering we started at what were we at, like 20, maybe less today. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
You're all wonderful, and we hope you stick around because we do.
I really hope we don't disappoint you now. No.
We do a podcast every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Now we really have to stay on track here. Damn.
Oh yeah, we do.
Anyways, so Dawkins pulls a spinebuster on Shinsuke. Montez flies in, but Shinsuke gets his knees up just in time. But as this is happening, Dawkins is holding Cesaro back. Cesaro then gets the opportunity to do his beautiful, one of my favorite moves, I think, his Cesaro swing to Montez, which is probably the best person to do it to because he's so limber. Just go around with him. Shinsuke drop kicks him in the head.
That was so painful.
I didn't like it. One bit. But Dawkins breaks the cover, and then Cesaro's kind of mad. He stomps Dawkins for a little bit. At one point, Montez looks like he's trying to do something, and Cesaro just goes back and stomps him real quick. Cesaro gets Dawkins on the bottom rope, and Shinsuke kicks him in the head. Then Cesaro's attentions are back to Montez, gets a flying European uppercut to him. Shinsuke is also at that point tripped into the stairs by Dawkins. The way the camera angle cut, it looked like Shinsuke kind of just tripped into the stairs, but we're going to pretend that Dawkins threw him there. We're going to pretend. For the sake of things. Montez is then just kind of... Cesaro's then just kind of uppercutting the shit out of Montez. He gets up on the ropes. Dawkins then, as Cesaro's holding Montez, Dawkins comes up behind him, tags Montez. Cesaro does not realize that he has been tagged. He superplexes Montez, but then Dawkins frog splashes him, and thus for the only official match of the Brand Invitational, Street Profits representing Raw win.
The 15-minute invitational. But
You know what?
If there was going to be any match for the invitational, you know what? I'm fine with it. This is a good match. I like all these guys. Maybe if we had Roman versus Drew, that would be even better. Let's save that for like WrestleMania or something.
I just really enjoyed when Shinsuke said, well, if they want the smoke, you're going to get cancer. First promo, by the way, with Shinsuke and Cesaro without any up, up, down, down references.
Yeah.
As far as I could tell. I mean, not what I heard, so.
If you want the smoke, you're gonna get the cancer.
Alright, happy Monday.
Oh man, okay. So after that we had a little promo with Lana and Angel Garza. A weird pairing, but kind of fully expected. I am not shocked that Angel Garza would be going after somebody who is now single.
Also important to note, first, and I'm sorry, Mike, first Raw episode without Demi.
Oh yeah, and we had a lot of Retribution today.
All right, anyways, keep going. I'm not getting into that tonight. No, not opening that door.
But yeah, we had Lana and Angel, and then I think Andrade comes out, and Angel and Andrade are kind of bickering, and Zelina comes out and is like, "I'm done. I'm tired of both of you. I'm out." And that will lead into something that happens later on tonight. Something very, very interesting that I am very excited for. I don't know about you, but I'm very excited. And maybe we'll see Lana take over managing Angel if wrestling doesn't really work out for her.
You're drawing a lot of conclusions there.
I am. But it's very weird that they put the two of them in a promo together.
I mean, she's single and he's single, so the two most single married people in Raw.
The two most single married people. Oh god.
It means nothing.
It really doesn't, especially Dawkins, who was also in on that. He literally just had a child. Anyway, I think that's the end of that promo. If you want to move us into the next... Oh, no. We had another promo right before the next fight. Yeah, it happened like... Because I think we had like Cedric introduced and then there was a promo. Oh no, it was Cedric and Hurt Business talking in the ring. And they're...
Were you going to count that as a promo?
Yeah, I've always considered whenever somebody's like just talking in a ring before the fight, I consider that a promo.
There was in theory one promo before that.
Was there? What did I miss?
It was Dominic and his family backstage, and Dominic and Angie were wearing matching shirts, and I just wanted to add that note. I thought it was cute. Mother and son.
She's very supportive of his son's hobby. But
Poor Angie.
So we had MVP was talking about Cedric now being an official part of the Hurt Business and how he signed his W-9. Thank you everybody for all the love.
Tax person.
Yeah, his tax person. And Cedric was basically saying like, I was tired of getting beaten up. It's ironic that he joined the people who had just beaten him up earlier that night. Very, very, very weird. I'm still going by the theory that he is going to betray both of them. And real quick, since the follows have finally slowed down, thank you everybody who has followed. We really appreciate it. We've gotten so much love today. And the night has just started, so thank you so much.
Early on.
Thank you. And yeah, then Apollo and Ricochet come out, and they're like, "You are our friend, our brother," and Cedric does not care.
I just thought it was funny because, like, we were leading into Cedric versus Ricochet's match, or Cedric and Ricochet's match, and Ricochet and Apollo come out, and Apollo's just hogging the mic, and Ricochet doesn't even have the mic up to him. He's like, "Yeah." Like, but it's your turn, bud. What are you doing? You want me to jump into the match?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say this right now. I will personally put myself to the front of the line to smack Cedric right now. I am so mad at him. So mad. So mad. Anyways, the match begins. Ricochet kind of slams Cedric into the canvas and starts punching him, as young men are ought to do, like in a schoolyard, which I respected. Starts punching Cedric. Cedric kicks Ricochet in the ribs. Ricochet elbows Cedric. Ricochet throws Cedric out of the ring. Gets around to kick him in the face. He moonsaults off the apron onto Cedric. He's looking awesome. It's a great time. We're having fun. As both men are outside of the ring, Shelton comes in to try to protect Cedric, I guess. But Apollo elbows him. And then Bobby comes out of nowhere trying to what essentially looked like an F5. Tries to F5 Apollo. And then Eric from the Viking Raiders comes out, which, to be fair, he was helping them earlier. Comes out of nowhere, attacks Bobby to get Apollo to safety. And then suddenly we go to commercial. When we come back, Eric and Bobby have a match. It's amazing what happens when there's no schedule.
I love Eric and Ivar just, being a part of this family of Apollo and Ricochet now. It came out of nowhere, but it's perfect.
Also, I mean, Eric doesn't have anyone to team up with at this point since Ivar was actually quite seriously injured.
He didn't go to the local medical facility. He went to the hospital.
I know, he went to the hospital, the real hospital. Not just the ambulance that drives down the block until they're out of view of the cameras and then comes back.
Oh, you think it goes down the block? You think it gets that far?
Maybe it just drives them to their car. It's like a little chauffeur. So Cedric, once we get back to the ring, Cedric is now has a waist lock on Ricochet. Kind of just looks like he's hugging him a little too hard. Ricochet punches Cedric to break the hold, which means that they were not hugging. And then there's a drop kick to Ricochet's spine. Cedric kind of got a leg up here. He started pummeling Ricochet, for lack of a better word. Ricochet finally got a drop kick to Cedric. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if maybe he kind of missed his vibe going down, but he was here and suddenly he just went down. That was funny. But Ricochet is kind of sparring with Cedric. He gets distracted, kicks Cedric in the face, and then German suplexes him. And he looked amazing tonight, by the way. But Shelton once again is distracting him. Ricochet gets up onto the top rope. Cedric moves as he jumps off, and Ricochet lands on his feet like a cat, as we all expect him to do. But then Cedric plants Ricochet. And then I heard it called two different things, so I'm probably going to call it the wrong thing. Yeah, I don't know if you saw this because I think you were looking away at the time. I'm going to call it the lumbar jab. I think that's what I've seen a lot of people calling it. There's a lumbar jab to Ricochet that launches him into the goddamn air.
I saw a video of it afterwards. It's a lumbar check.
Lumbar check. Okay.
Yeah.
So a lumbar check.
And
it just sounded kind of weird to me.
I saw the clip on Reddit and they were saying it's like if that was a killer cell that Ricochet had.
It was. I think my instant response when that happened was like, and there's very few moves I think that can do that to me, where it's just I betray myself, or I'm just like, WWE is real. But it was, oh my god. I am surprised that they didn't play a replay of that, because that was a really impressive move on both their parts.
I think by the end of was that the end of the fight right there?
There was a couple extra seconds where they could have shown the replay, but then afterwards, Cedric wins. Ricochet's dying, and the lights go out, and it's Retribution, and we get sweatshirt Dominic Dijakovic, and thank God for that. And I have once more been swayed towards the idea that it is not just Mia Yim, but also Mercedes Martinez and Retribution.
I was
those eyebrows don't lie.
I was a little doubtful that it would be Mercedes Martinez, but looking at her today, that is definitely Mercedes. But what they're talking about, I find it so funny because they're talking about WWE wrestlers selling their souls to the corporation. Meanwhile, these are all NXT wrestlers. God,
like, you sold out. It's like,
wait, Mike.
Have you not?
Was Mercedes fired by Robert Stone? Did that happen last NXT? I know there were pictures of Robert Stone.
Didn't happen during NXT.
Yeah, Robert Stone and Aaliyah had pictures together on Instagram without Mercedes. But I didn't hear anything about him firing her. That's very interesting that he did that.
I mean, the rumors that it was Mercedes have been going around for a little while now.
Since that the pitched down or pitched up clip. Mike sent a link. I'm gonna open it, but not play it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, one way or another, it has been rumored for a while, so I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure. I don't think that like the two things kind of like go hand in hand.
When's he gonna fire Aaliyah next? I feel like she needs to go.
Mike is your deputy right now. How could you do this?
He's got to bring in Shotzi. I just see a capital Hey in the chat.
I can't see the chat, but I can feel it in my heart right now.
Don't worry, I've deputized Splucha now too. Splucha is also here.
Oh no!
Welcome, Splucha. We had a massive raid and had to deputize Mike, and we're gonna deputize you too.
It's an honor you didn't ask for, but
yeah.
Thank you.
Where were we? We were Retribution, right?
We have technically two promos because we've got Sarah with Mickie James and we've got Adam Pearce talking to security.
Oh right, okay. Wait. The Adam Pearce one, was that before or after the Mickie interview?
After.
Okay, so I did not write that down. So
Mickie interview or the Adam Pearce one?
I wrote down the Mickie interview. Was the Adam?
How'd you miss Adam Pearce?
Oh wait, no. Was that the one with Hurt Business coming in?
With Boyz II Men shout out.
Okay, then I just wrote that down as Hurt Business promo. Okay, so there was an interview with Mickie James after the whole Retribution thing. I'm so tired of Mickie James, so I'm not gonna even talk about what this promo is, just because
it hurts me.
She's like every soccer mom who's.
I wanted her to. Sorry.
She's every soccer mom who's stuck in the 80s with those flared pants.
I mean, I know that's been her thing. It's always been her thing. That's like, and again, they reinforce this with a look back at her career. The thing is that it's like, all right. First of all, I know Mickie James is a good wrestler. Okay, I know that. That's not lost on me. They brought her back. She looked like shit. She was booked like shit. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, Mickie James, you remember her? She's amazing. Oh my god.
Because of all the backlash.
She's going for the women's title. It's like
also
if they responded to backlash, there would be other things changing in the WWE that aren't changing.
Speaking of backlash, Mike said in the chat, I'm pretty sure Retribution is supposed to be dumb because they're pointless protesters with no good purpose, ... A little on the nose, huh? Glad Vince ain't wearing his political leaning on his sleeve. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That's why it's fucking stupid and I hate it. Because it's literally just supposed to be like mocking protesters.
Because, well, that's what happened the night that they, or the night of, or the night after they broke the window of the performance center.
Mm-hmm.
And they were back in the performance center. And Michael Cole said something along the lines of like, well, it seems like they've been taking a page out of the book of the people that are protesting right now in, you know, the real world. It was before Portland, I think.
Oh, okay.
This was in the early days of Retribution, if we can even say that. But Michael Cole specifically said, like, seems like they're like kind of taking after them, and it's like, oh, see, I theorized that this was what was happening, but I didn't want to be right.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just excited to see a bunch of NXT wrestlers on Raw. That's all I'm excited about.
I'm just excited to see Dominik Dijakovic in that sweatshirt. Also, I really was hoping that somebody, Dominik tonight, would have taken his mask off maybe and been like, oh no!
They literally said, we're gonna unmask ourselves and show you who we are. And they didn't. They appeared again later tonight, and they didn't.
They said, at Survivor Series. That was just cut out. So the fact that they're talking about selling out and they're like, they have their own WWE logo now, it's like...
Yeah, they sold out too.
Who did you consult with for that logo? Did you just send that to Vince and say, can we use this?
Mm-hmm. Mike said, imagine being...
It's too meta. It's too meta.
Mike said, imagine being intimidating after getting fired by Robert Stone. I think we should move on, with that said, to the Adam Pearce promo featuring Hurt Business, where Adam Pearce is basically telling all the security to kind of lock it down once again, even though they can never do their jobs right. And then Hurt Business shows up.
5 security members for an entire fucking entertainment center. So,
they should have just written it to where the security was Retribution. Their own employees were Retribution. That would have been perfect. But anyway.
There's a lot of they should have done this for the writing, but...
Like Roman Reigns leading Retribution?
Hey. Stick to the script.
But, yeah, so Hurt Business comes in. And I think they're mad that Retribution came. And they're like, we gotta...
Because Retribution took their match.
Oh, yeah. What was the dumb thing they said? Oh, we're gonna turn boys to men or something? Or like, oh, he said they're gonna come with their crowbars and baseball bats, but that won't be a problem with Bobby, Shelton, Cedric.
Cedric Alexander. And Cedric's just like, he got your name wrong, dude. You're just gonna stand there and waggle your eyebrows?
I feel like Cedric became a little more of a puss since he joined Hurt Business.
He did. In that very moment, he became more of a puss, and that breaks me on the inside. He was not a puss before.
He was not.
When he had Ricochet, they were best pals, and he was a strong man, and now he's a puss.
He might have been getting beaten up, but he stood up for himself.
We'll have to wait till next year to find that one to come to fruition. So. Since we waited this long for Bayley and Sasha, I mean, we're probably going to have to wait at least 3, 4, 5 more months before that ball folds in on itself.
Yeah.
Whatever. Shall I jump into the weirdest match of the night?
I wouldn't even say that's the weirdest match. I would say that's the most botched match.
So let's start by discussing the fact that the referee tonight.
Oh my god.
So my dude, we have seen him many times before. I don't know his name. I only know like one guy's name besides John Cole. Cone, whatever his name is. Anyway, see, I barely know anyone's name as far as referees are concerned. We've seen this referee about 1,000,009 times. He is a senior referee. He's been there for a while. My dude was hungover, sick, had a migraine, something. He was calling nothing. Called 0 things tonight. So let's just try to get through this, and I'll discuss my issues with it, I guess. So Mickie James comes out dressed like a Power Ranger. I know this is her thing every time, though. It's just she's still very much in the Divas era, and I really wish that they would have. I think the problem with Mickie James is that they brought back Divas era Mickie James.
Mm-hmm.
Even if she was still, I know she was wearing the same thing recently enough, but like they should have updated her character in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the way that Lana and Natty are updated, but like in some way.
Well, at least she wasn't wearing the flared pants.
I'm happy that we saw no flared pants tonight, but also there were so many other things that we could have seen. Like, I don't know, count-outs. So right off the bat, it's a really awkward fight. Mickie kind of seems to be going at half speed. At one point, Mickie trips Asuka on purpose, but she trips Asuka. She gets a neck breaker on her. Asuka sends a knee to Mickey's nose. And then Asuka goes for the hip attack. As always, she gets strung up in the ropes. Mickie kicks Asuka in the face. Finally, Asuka gets the hip attack out on Mickie. And Mickie goes up to the top rope. Asuka tries to get at her, but Mickie punches her down. And I think the whole point of tonight was that Mickie was supposed to look kind of like strong, even though, you know, they did a huge disservice to her when she came back from being gone for so long. By making her fight really ridiculous matches for really stupid reasons, but that's fine. Anyways, she's fighting for the championship.
You know what Mickie needs? She needs to be part of like I don't know, this unique thing called a karaoke episode.
Mickie probably would be like, yeah, sure.
Do you think that's why she came back? She's like, fuck yeah, karaoke, I'm in.
I feel like she actually, judging by her history, she would actually have been like, no, stay away from me. But at the same time, now she's falling into that same ploy where it's like, you were completely dismissed for the first 4 weeks that you came back, and now all of a sudden you're getting a title shot. It's like, I get it, you held it 6 times, but like, I don't know, dude. If I were coming back like that, I'd be like, I would like to make it look like I deserve to get the title as well as fighting for the title.
I mean,
since, you know, those first 4 matches didn't really make it look like she needed that title.
Yeah, I mean, she's had 4 matches this year. One of them was Royal Rumble. And one was against Lana. Another one was against Asuka today. I think the other one was against Natalya, the one where the camera wasn't on them the whole time.
Seth came out.
Yes, it was a promo for Seth. Yeah, I'm tired of Mickie. I feel like Asuka should have better opponents. I miss Charlotte, goddammit. I miss Charlotte Flair.
I don't think that we'd be tired of Mickie either right now if it were not for the fact that, like, if they had given Mickie the treatment that they are giving her right now, with, like, throwback videos to all of her old fights and stuff like that, if they had introduced her like that instead of a weird one-off promo where she sounded like she was slurring half her words, if they had given us that, or given us what they gave us tonight versus that, maybe we would feel more like this was a worthwhile return.
Mm-hmm.
That said, though, before we, because I could probably spend 3 more hours talking about that alone. So Mickie gets some knees sent into her chest. Then Mickey has Asuka in a leg sub, which is probably the best place to get Asuka. Asuka counters a move to cover Mickey, but Mickey kicks. Asuka is then kicked by Mickey, but so softly that it does not even resonate in the audio feed at all. I wasn't looking up, I was typing my notes out. And then I just heard Michael Cole, who was there for some reason, because Tom Phillips apparently is just like not around anymore. Michael Cole was like, "Oh, and Asuka gets kicked in the face." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, sure." Asuka goes in for an armbar, but Mickey gets a leg up on the rope. It takes the referee like 5 goddamn years to count or to recognize that that's happening. Because usually the referee's like, legs on the rope. And then you sit back and you're like, oh yeah. But no, she got her leg up on the rope and it was like sitting there for like a second. And you're like,
well, you know, because I was thinking back to that. It wasn't on there for very long. It was like on there, off there, and then went back up there again and went right back down. It seems like Mickey didn't know what was going on. Right.
But then this also leads into the fact that at one point Asuka, around this time, Asuka is completely shoulders down. She is laying flat back on the canvas while Mickey's like doing some sort of defensive move over top of her. Asuka's shoulders are flat on the canvas. The referee's just vibing over top of them. Normally, the referee sees like a shoulder come within like a half inch of the canvas, and he's like, "Ready to count. I'm ready to count. This is the only thing I'm here for. I'm ready to count right now." This dude was just like, I don't know. Is that shoulder down? Oh, am I supposed to deal with that? Shit. All right. Well, all right.
I think the most important thing to talk about, though, is like the last second of.
We're gonna get to that's the next note. Because Asuka gets the Asuka lock on Mickey, and it's not a really tight lock at all. In fact, it's such a loose Asuka lock that Mickey gets free. Her lower half gets free from the Asuka lock, from the waist lock, half of it. And you're like, oh shit, is like this actually going to turn around in Mickey's favor? And then she kind of just sits up, and the referee's like, done. And Mickey rolls her way out, and the referee's like, Asuka wins because Mickey can't fight anymore.
Well, it was like, yeah, she was in the Asuka lock. She rolled out, and yeah, it was like she rolled out, and then the ref like leaned in to try and like talk to her or something, and then said, "No more, no more." Didn't give a reason like why she couldn't fight anymore, and we never returned to that later on. I think
I said, "Oh, they're gonna say something." I'm sure.
Maybe Mickey was just like, "I'm really tired. We need to stop," or the ref got bored.
There's a part of me that like, it's either something. There's 3 options here, right? One of the options is, kayfabe, this is going to play into something next Monday. Second option is, something actually did happen to Mickey. She didn't say anything when it happened, and then at that point in the Asuka lock, she was like, I can't stand up again. Like, I can't get out of here. Or 3, and this is something that I've made up in my own damn head, was that Mickey James just got tired of the fact that the referee was sick and like or that the referee was not calling anything.
So I actually just found an article about this. Apparently, this match was supposed to be like the last, like Mickey James's last title match ever. She said like her days in the ring are coming to a close.
She did say when she entered the ring, I have one last opportunity or something like that.
And I was actually right about this because we talked about this during, like, right after the match. Mickey James was supposed to tap out during the Asuka lock, but she reversed her way out of it. And because she was supposed to, the ref called it, So that it's a combination of Mickey James going off script and the ref not understanding what was going on. But yeah, Splucha, I could definitely see a rematch happening here.
Huh?
Yeah, I know. If she got hurt though, she would have tapped out, I feel like. I don't know. I this match
It's a
was
headache.
it was all kinds of botched to me. Oh, if she got concussed, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Um, yeah, that it was just a really weird match. Just it was weird because like as often tends to happen in a lot of matches, especially with wrestlers who are a little bit not I don't want to say older, but like have been around for a while. Um,
You know what's shocking?
wrestlers that are
Sorry, I didn't mean
that
to
I
cut
haven't
you
finished
off.
my sentence. I was just gonna say that with wrestlers that are either that have been around the block a couple times or wrestlers that are kind of just there for legacy matches, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's fought in halftime. You can kind of tell, um, especially with Raw, how the script has been kind of flipped around a million times. It sounds like every time they shoot,
Mm-hmm.
things like act a little weird, and that's happened a lot with the Iconics. We've seen that happen with them. It's like kind of weird off kilter. But that on top of the referee not calling things that like very obviously should have been called, even just from like the clipped off viewer perspective. Um, plus the weird ending. It was just such a bizarre match. We finished it. My head was just like,
Yeah. But what's weird is Mickey James is only 41. There are active WWE wrestlers who are older. And catch you later, Mike. Have a good night.
Mike.
Yeah, no, she's like not old. She's just 41.
Yeah, but also like I'm 24, and if I sit in a chair wrong, my back hurts. So I imagine that if you put your body through that much, even if you're like at peak physical fitness, I feel like after a certain point, your bones are like, well, I'm still human bones and I'm still human muscle, so sorry, but
Mm-hmm.
this hurts.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you wanna pick up here at the end of it with the promo sort
Oh,
of that
yeah.
happens?
So after the match, a certain somebody walks in. A Miss Zelina Vega comes in and
He's
basically
so tired.
she makes doesn't quite make a challenge to Asuka, but definitely teases one. She slaps Asuka in the face after laughing at her. And we might see a bit of a push on Zelina Vega. I'm excited.
I'm excited. I really am. But I just like that Zelina was like, you're so focused on like superstars of like however long ago. And it's like, well, Zelina, last time you wrestled was like a while ago. Besides Bianca, we're not talking about Bianca. But like it's been a while since you wrestled. I'm pretty sure you wrestled in Fighting with My Family earlier than you wrestled in actual WWE events. So like I don't know what superstars of yesteryear you're discussing. Okay. You know what? I have been begging for Zelina to come back to wrestling.
Yeah.
Now here we are. However many years later, now here we are. I'll take what I can get. I guess this is the month of Elizabeth asking for things and sometimes sadly getting them. Except for this time where I'm actually quite happy about it. Everything else has been kind of sad and I'm not caring for it.
Yeah. I definitely want to see a Zelina Vega push. I feel like it would be great to sort of mix up the women's scene, the Raw women's scene, and not have Natalia and Lana fight Asuka 50 times and Mickey James fight Asuka 50 times. I'd like to see Zelina get her shot, especially now that Bailey and Sasha are kind of remaining amongst themselves for the moment.
I do just kind of feel like we're kind of playing whack-a-mole now.
Yeah.
It's like Kyrie left, so we don't have that tag team. we made Nia and Shayna. The Iconics are now broken up. We have Riot Squad. So we've got Riot Squad and Nia and Shayna, and technically Natty and Lana. But now we're getting Mandy, and on top of that, we're getting Zelina, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, oh, now all of a sudden we've got like a lot of singles female wrestlers. Like a little itty bitty ball of women's tag teams, which is starting to kind of go reverse SmackDown, which is primarily, if not entirely, singles female wrestlers.
Yeah.
One more promo.
Yeah. So we move into the interview with Keith Lee. Drew doesn't come in here. This is just Keith, right?
So this is where Charlie says something very snide, and I respected the hell out of it.
What'd she say? I forget.
Oh, please let me tell you.
Yes, please tell me.
So Charlie, after months and months and months and months and months and months of Zelina just kind of taking the piss out of her. Mind you, this is hot on the heels of Zelina saying, "I'm coming for your title, Asuka." Charlie comments on that and then says, "And now to someone whose aspirations might be a little more realistic." And I said, Charlie, my God, woman. Beautiful. Mwah.
And then I think we move into the next fight after that.
Oh yeah, just so you know, Keith didn't really say anything important there.
Yeah, no, there was like legit nothing going on in that promo.
Keith he had his mouth very closed today when he was talking. Normally he's very vocal, but today he was very subdued.
He was very well composed, like not talking all anime like he normally does.
I wouldn't know what that's like, but I agree with you.
It
was talking a little differently today.
Talking like this. And putting inflection on things that shouldn't have inflection like that. Yeah, like that.
We move on to the next match. Yeah. So we have Bobby Lashley versus Eric. Eric kind of gets pummeled. He goes in quickly for a knee strike and gets shattered immediately thereafter because he misses Bobby. As Bobby's attacking him incessantly, one might say. He finally gets an elbow to him and then sends 2 high knees to his face, a knee to his face while Bobby is on his knees. And then he gets Bobby slammed down to the canvas. But sort of doesn't mean anything. Bobby then power bombs Eric and gets a full Nelson on him. Eric taps. And the match lasted about as long as this recap did. To say the least.
Yeah.
Anyways, you now have
the interview with Kevin Owens.
I have 5 promos written here. I'm gonna see where you go.
Okay. I probably have one missing, but I'll get started. So we had an interview with Kevin Owens. It's basically him talking about his match with Alistair and saying that he kind of gets why Alistair's doing this, why he's going after him, because he's frustrated that he's been kept in a dark room without anybody challenging him, no fights. And that's very much him poking at WWE right there, saying Alistair's just been sitting here. No fights. Nothing. No bookings at all. And he gets why he's frustrated about that. And then after that, we move into...
Wait.
What?
The moment Kevin walks away.
Oh. Alistair shows up.
5 seconds later, he's just like...
And then after that, we had a little bit of Raw Underground. We had Braun Strowman entering Raw Underground. For some reason, the Cross-Brand Invitational.
Mark.
The only ones who showed up were Cesaro, Shinsuke, and Braun. No one else cared.
And Michael Cole.
Michael Cole had a gun to his head.
Corey was like, I'm definitely not doing this.
Specifically Bailey's, so he had to run. So yeah, we had Braun and Raw Underground, and then we had a little promo with Seth in the locker room, with Buddy, and for a moment you're like, oh, they're happy, they're buds again, and then Seth slaps Murphy across the face after he says that he needs to just do what he says. It's fine. Bam! Slap in the face. Just stay backstage. Stay backstage. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Slaps him again.
I have one problem here. Actually, I've got two. First thing, I was like, because Seth sees Buddy and he's like, oh, Buddy, I was hoping you would come up to me tonight. I needed to talk to you. I really need to talk to you. I've been waiting to talk to you all night. And I was like, oh, BB boys, best friends again. Yay, friends. We haven't had enough friends recently. Everyone hates each other now. And then he says, I'm going to need you tonight. I'm going to need you at a point in the fight, okay? I'm going to need you. So I just want you to be aware of that. And I said, oh, he's going to need Buddy to, like, I don't know, take Dominic's eye out or something. Yay, friends, friends. And then he slaps him. And once more, my vocal cords betrayed my better senses as I yelled no. I didn't mean to do it. It was just a guttural response. Because then he's like, what I need you to do is stay the fuck away from the goddamn ring. And I said, okay, you said you needed him later in the match, so not sure why you're telling him now what you need him to do, but that's fine. And they slaps him again. And it's like, oh, okay, so it's over. It's all over. It's over. It hurts so bad.
And then the promo's over. So then we move into a little sponsorship, little promotion featuring R-Truth, who's
talking shit to a Kit Kat.
Yeah, he's talking shit to a Kit Kat because he can't break it, despite being a wrestler for WWE. And then Liv Morgan comes in for some reason, breaks off a piece of Kit Kat, gives it back to him, and then he keeps talking shit to the Kit Kat.
He's like, you see that? That's called an assist.
Spool just said, shit chat, chit chat on a Kit Kat.
Thank you, Sploocha.
And that's where that promo went for some reason. Did I miss a promo at all?
The only other promo wasn't really a promo. It was very much in the same vein as those Mystery Woman, aka Carmella, promos from SmackDown.
Was it the Mandy Rose
Mandy's
thing?
coming to Raw.
Okay.
Like special. I felt like, in theory, this was the most literal sense of a promo.
Yeah. Yeah. But
all right.
I was going to transition us into the next fight, but you've got that covered.
Next fight is entitled "Take Me to Snarch."
Oh boy.
Snail Church.
For no reason.
Dominic versus Seth. I wrote it down. I'm going to say it. So Seth immediately kicks Dominic in the stomach and then just kind of keeps kicking him for an extended period of time. Dominic gets a side Russian leg sweep to Seth. He reverses a move and nearly drives Seth's head into the canvas. It was a very cool move. And then suddenly, without any announcement whatsoever, we just see a ginger man handing Seth a kendo stick through the grates of the cage It's Murphy. Murphy's here to help. And I said, yay, friendship. He's coming through for him. Oh my God, that's so fun. That's so fun for us. So Seth uses the stick and then sends Dominic into the cage wall. Dominic reverses a move and drives Seth also into the steel cage. Sort of does a head scissors. We're still figuring that one out. We're still figuring the head scissors out. Sort of head scissors Seth. Ray then hands Dominic a kendo stick, I think. I don't know if it was the same one, if it was a different one. I'm not sure. But he hands him a kendo stick. And Dominic starts hitting Seth's bare skin with the kendo stick. And I said, oh, no. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that whatsoever. Oh, God, no. So Dominic is kind of just throwing Seth around into the steel cage, just kind of like one wall, then the other wall, then the other wall, then the other wall. And then power bombs him entirely. Dominic once again has the kendo stick. Seth also could have just rolled over like an inch and grabbed the kendo stick. He didn't. He rolled towards Dom, and Dominic got up and grabbed the stick. Seth launches him into the canvas before he can be smacked around anymore. Both men are on the cage. And mind you, at this point, Dominic has tried to jump out of the cage at least 3 separate times. Now both men are on the side of the cage wall. Dominic went up first. Seth was trying to stop him. They're just punching each other. Dominic slams Seth's head into the wall. And then Dominic slips off the rope and lands crotch first into the rope. And Seth said, well, you do it, I do it. And did the exact same thing. And they said, oh, Dominic really faked him out there. But, yeah, it really kind of just looked like one of them slipped. So Ray then tries to help his darling son escape from the cage. You know, I've watched a couple cage matches before. I didn't realize that it was like once your father opens the cage, you can get out. I didn't think that was a rule. Apparently it is. And the referee is helping Ray hold the cage door open. And Murphy then takes Ray out like a good friend. And Seth, who was there to kind of yell at Ray for trying to help his son out a little bit, was standing a little too close to the steel cage door. May have had the door slammed on his head.
Hi, buddy.
Murphy.
That's all on Murphy, though, because he should have looked to see that Seth was still in the doorway.
Anywho. Once again tries to escape. Murphy, at this point, Seth is like broken because the door was just slammed into his head. A steel door. Usually not the best. Dominic is once more trying to escape. Murphy climbs up the other side of the wall, tries to kind of fight him off. But it's not really that successful. Murphy sort of falls just off of it like a sack of potatoes. Dom is then trying to escape again. Seth starts fighting him off of the side of the cage. Seth manages off the top rope a superplex to Dom, and then follows it up with a Falcon Arrow. It's looking good. We're having fun. Everything is okay. Seth maybe is concussed and has forgotten that Murphy shut the door on his head. Maybe. Seth is then making fun of Ray. Dominic tries to roll him up, as you should have expected, because Seth can't help himself. And usually you pay for those kinds of things. Seth gets out of that. Stomps Dominic. Runs over. Off the rope. Stomps him again. Seth wins. Seth grabs the kendo stick and exits the cage. And Murphy's waiting at the door for him.
Like a good friend.
I said, oh, baby boy. Baby boy, crawl under that ring. Crawl under that ring. Just go to the Firefly Funhouse or something, dude. Get out.
Dexter Loomis is just waiting for him under there.
It's where he belongs at this point. He's probably safer there. You get under there, you just see bright blue eyes. So instead of trying to kendo the shit out of Murphy, he instead just kind of tries to kill him by slamming him around a lot and then slamming his head with the door and saying, doesn't it hurt? I would know because you just did it to me. And I said, well, yeah, he was also there, so he probably knows that he did it to you, too. And then Seth walks up to Angie because Ray has already gone inside the cage to check on his son, who apparently is now dead, judging by the way Ray reacted. He walks up to Angie and Aaliyah looks at Angie, looks at Aaliyah, says to Angie, hope she turns out better than him. I was like, and then we got a weird moment where like Buddy's like dead on the stairs, and as like Aaliyah's going in to check on her brother, she like just like touches his arm, and I was like, no. I don't even think you can vote. Get inside the cage, check on your brother, and stop. We're not doing this tonight.
You don't think he can vote?
I don't think she can vote. I think she's like 17.
He's 19.
Well, whichever. I don't care. You stay away from him. He's a man. Yeah.
She can't drink.
Yeah, exactly. Don't go near him.
If anything, he
Let
can't
him die up on
vote.
the side. Hey, he is Australian. He might not be able to. One way or the other. I didn't care for that 5-second cut of like Aaliyah just gently touching his arm, and I was like, we didn't need that shot. That shot did not do anything for the story here. I don't want it to do anything for the story here either.
I think it's teasing.
Except unless Murphy coming around to becoming part of the Reyes Mysterio family and
or
their salads.
Aaliyah becoming part of the Seth discipleship.
Weird. Wouldn't love it. But okay. However, would much prefer Murphy becoming a face.
Also,
even if it means that he has to go through Aleister Black syndrome.
Spucha put the imagery of Dexter Lumis slithering around with just his arms as his legs drags limply behind him in my head, and now I really want that on the main roster. I want Dexter Lumis back more than anything. I miss him so much. I know last time we mentioned Dexter Lumis and we had chat response, everyone was shitting on him, saying he's like a budget Bray or something. I miss him so much.
Okay, first of all, this just reminds me of that Vine with Billy Ray Cyrus where it's like the guy saying, I miss him so much. Except it's me with pictures of Dexter Lumis. I will fight for Dexter Lumis to the goddamn end. And if you think that he's a budget Bray Wyatt, I have so many words for you. That'll be for a different podcast. That'll be for the one next Monday when Mark's not around.
Yeah, I won't be here on Monday's podcast. Unless...
Can we talk about this later? This makes me sad. I don't want to think about it.
Unless things change before Thursday. So, where were we at? The Seth fight. So afterwards we had goddamn Raw Underground.
Can we talk about the commentation?
The commentary?
The people who were commentating on Raw Underground tonight. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, it's Michael Cole and Byron. They were commentating tonight's Raw Underground. Normally it's Shane.
Where was Shane?
You could hear him. You could hear him, and he could hear the commentators too. He was responding to them at points, I think.
That was just the voices in his head, honey.
Oh no.
First of all, I think that we need to start wearing face masks on Raw Underground. Just saying, because it's Florida. I don't really trust any yell down there. No offense, but maybe some. Because just be safe, dude. There was one guy down there.
Isn't that the same thing as like the Performance Center crowd? Like, why is that not considered the same thing?
That's the thing that I have a problem with, is that it's like it's the same. It's more or less a lot of the same people from the Raw Underground crowd, but they're closer together. And I think I saw one guy wearing a face mask tonight, and like it just stresses me out because like at the end of the day, they probably have better resources in the WWE to deal with this kind of stuff than us average folk do. But also, like, just because it's a fight club doesn't mean you can't wear masks. I mean, there are also rules in this fight club that don't make any sense. Just wear a mask, please. Come on. Like, makes me stressed.
But about the actual promo, whatever this was, we had Dolph fighting Riddick Moss. And then we had Braun fighting both Riddick and Dolph. And then we had Titus come in? Or we had Titus and then Riddick, Moss, and Dolph against Braun. I don't know. It's Raw Underground. Everything's just up to the wild imagination of Shane's coked, addicted brain. So nothing matters except Shane's coke.
Also, like, I would like to see Titus doing something other than, like, spearing Braun for 5 seconds and then we cut to commercial.
I want to see him in a fight, not Raw Underground.
You know, doing wrestling things. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
But then after that, we had a little interview with Mr. McIntyre.
True.
Well, he starts to get all mad. Keith Lee shows up. They both get mad at each other. And then I think they start fighting. Do they start fighting here, or is that later on? Okay, they start fighting here. And they're mad. That's all I can say. They're mad at each other.
It's just weird because it's like they're both faces and like
someone's making a heel turn.
Now they're arguing with each other.
Drew McIntyre making a heel turn.
Claymore. Talk less, Claymore.
Keith
was just talking too much.
Talk less, Claymore. Keith. But after that, we move into the next fight, which this is your time to shine.
Would you call this a fight? Would you?
Yeah.
Alistair, Kevin Owens is introduced. Alistair comes out of nowhere. He's got the bandana of sorts, I guess, tied around his eye, which, you know, the whole thing about his reemergence was the whole thing with the eye starts bleeding black, kind of like the more angry he gets or something, or like upset he gets. I don't know. Comes out with that on. And pretty much right off the bat, he takes the bandana off so we can see both of his eyes. And I might be wrong, but I could have sworn that he's using a contact now for one of the eyes to make it look like the iris is also black in addition to the pupil.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, could totally be wrong. I'm probably totally wrong, actually. So we start with a clothesline to Alistair and then a senton. Alistair sends Kevin to the canvas back first. He gets a knee sub on him. Kevin then kicks Alistair in the face to free himself. Kevin sends Alistair over the top rope, and Alistair drops like a sack of potatoes while smacking his face on the apron. Kind of funny when you don't see the apron, which we didn't in the first shot, because all you see is Kevin Owens and Alistair arguing sort of more or less on the ropes, and then just Alistair. You don't see him smack his face. But he hits his face on the apron. We come to Alistair, getting his senses back. He's breaking apart Kevin's leg. We get a right hook to old Alistair's face. Alistair doesn't seem too phased. He gets another leg sub on Kevin. Kevin reaches the rope to break the sub. Good thing that the referee for the Mickie James fight was not there because he wouldn't have noticed. Then we get a super kick to Alistair's chest, which flattens him. And Retribution flickers the lights. Kevin gets a neck breaker on Alistair, and then Kevin Owens wins.
And then runs out of the ring to safety.
He I know.
And so after that, we had a promo. I guess you can consider it a promo where Keith and Drew are literally just fighting each other. Adam Pearce breaks it up and says something like, "Save it for the fight later on."
Tries to break it up is probably a better way to describe that.
He broke it up. He did his job. Didn't he say, like, you're both fired? Oh no, the match he said the match will be canceled if you guys keep fighting.
Which really only affects Keith.
Yeah. And
But
Randy.
it is important to mention that Drew said in the beginning, when he was doing his first promo, that he was warned that if he had to take time off to, like, if he had actually like really damaged his jaw or something, if the hairline fracture was any bigger, he would have had to take time off and then relinquish his title.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm sure his wife is sitting at home like, why, my God, oh my God, why didn't you? Holy shit. But he said that if that had happened, he would have had to relinquish his title. So I kind of feel like, you know, I don't like to play the mark in these situations here, and not name referencing you, but like the mark as far as like kayfabe is concerned. I don't like to play the mark here, but when you look at Sami Zayn and when you look at Roman Reigns, it's like, if he did have to take time off, or if he did choose to take time off right now, like, would he have kept that title? Like, even if he was just like, hey, I want to kind of take a vacation because I've been working nonstop 24/7 all the time, constantly, for the last 9 months. I sleep.
I think it's basically if you have a title, you can't take a vacation time because you can't defend it in those 2 weeks. What are you gonna do? It's done.
But that's why, like, it's like, okay, Adam Pearce is out here trying to pretend that he has like some sort of authority here, and I don't know. I just kind of, I mean, Randy kicked him in the face 14,000 times to begin with. I don't think he should be punished for anything. Just saying.
Well, Randy,
I'm not biased or anything.
Randy wasn't doing that when he had an injury that he wasn't medically cleared to be at the Thunderdome for.
Oh, medically cleared, schmedically cleared.
So after that, we had the next fight, which is all you.
Once again, are we calling this a fight?
This was a squash.
Yeah, more like a riot squash. Huh. See, if you hadn't said squash, I wouldn't have done this. It's on you.
I have something to say after the fight.
Do you? Is it that you don't like my jokes, or is it something else?
It's something else.
Okay, cool. Rockin'. All right, sure. So we've got Riot Squad versus Lana and Natty. Love to see Lana fighting again. She looked great. Presentation-wise. So Lana's just kind of stomping Liv. Liv punches Natty off the apron as Lana throws her into the corner. Doesn't amount to much. Ruby finally gets tagged in. She kicks Lana. And oh my God, I've only got 4 notes for this match because that's about how long it was. Riot Squad wins. And then right afterwards, Shayna and Nia, who were there commentating, sort of.
They kill Lana.
They come in, they're like, yeah, you know, this is our time to clean up, I guess. And Nia sends Lana through the announce desk.
You know what I gotta say? You know what I gotta say?
Yes,
Shayna and Nia are gonna lose their titles at Clash of Champions to Liv and Ruby.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna have Shayna going back after the Raw Women's title and win it from Asuka. Or Nia, one of the two. Probably Shayna. I thought you'd fight me on this more, so that's all I had prepared.
No. No, I agree with you. Let's jump into our last fight, I guess.
We had Raw Underground for a little bit. Oh. I don't remember what this was about. I think I already talked about it in my last mention. So let's move into the fight.
Sure. Alrighty. We have a Drew versus Keith. So Keith automatically throws Drew into the corner. As he goes to kind of whip him into a different corner, Drew kicks him. Drew manages to kind of slide away from Keith, but Keith still kicks Drew in the jaw, which is a no-no. If Drew gets one bad hit to that jaw, my God, he is never wrestling again. We have Chopped featuring Ted Allen, and the secret ingredient is jaw wired shut, as per the chef of the hour, Keith Lee. He then headbutts Drew McIntyre. And then we get a suplex off the ropes. Sorry, no, this is a different time. Different suplex to Keith Lee. A suplex to Keith Lee. He's in desperate pain, I can only imagine. Drew gets up to the top rope. There's a flying punch to Keith. And god damn it, man, does he kip up afterwards. Woo! Woo!
And he's like, oh, my jaw!
He's like, shit, it's so rattled. Drew manages a spinebuster to Lee. He's going... It sort of looked like he was going for like some sort of a suplex. But Keith's a heavy man, and Keith said, I'm not going up with you. Good fucking luck. They just kind of start sparring a little bit until Keith does the thing that Keith does, which is also what the Big Show does, which is using all of the power that God ever gave you to slap a man's heart down to his buttocks. Keith sends a nasty forearm to Drew. Drew, ironically, gets a jawbreaker on Keith. He goes up to the top rope, but Lee headbutts him. Keith meets him up there at the top rope. And this is when he superplexes Drew. Which just kind of, at that point, felt a bit like mutually assured destruction, judging by both of their reactions. Drew still manages to get a crossbody on Lee after avoiding a spirit bomb, and then Retribution comes out. And Dominik Dijakovic, after all we went through, Dom, after all Keith went through, Dominik Dijakovic attacks, well, with Retribution, attacks Keith Lee. And then the Hurt Business took Adam Pearce's suggestion that they become security seriously. So they come out, and, maybe Bobby Lashley could have done something. Maybe Shelton could have done something. MVP, not so much. He's pretty old. Cedric, not so much. He's pretty small. They try to fight Retribution, and it really doesn't do much up until Drew and Keith say, hey, what if we team together as best pals again? And dive out of the ring onto all of the men of Retribution. And that is where that ends.
If there's anything to take away from this episode, it's that Hurt Business is getting the biggest push of all. And they're getting really the only character development of anybody in this whole goddamn brand.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I can't say you're wrong.
And I don't mind it. I like a little development for the heel faction.
I wouldn't mind a little development for Shelton, honestly. I'm being real honest here.
Considering he is the second most tenure out of anyone on that faction. I remember watching matches from like 2006. He was in the Royal Rumble there with like John Morrison in the old days, 14 years ago.
They always do like the honor to like, with like, even with Mickie James, who fought as recently as Royal Rumble, it's like they at least gave us like a reel of her best moments. And Shelton, they were just like, here's Shelton Benjamin. He wants to kill Apollo Crews. Let's have some fun. And that's it. Sure.
So do you want to move into the best of the night?
The what now?
Oh no. So for anyone new to the podcast,
I hand painted all these signs.
She did hand paint all the signs, and she did a damn good job of it.
I stayed up till like 4 a.m. doing it.
We have this portion of the night, the best of the night, where we talk about the best promo, the best fighter, and best fight of the night, which explains the graphic that's been up on the screen the entire podcast. And then that's basically it. So, best promo. I think I know what I'm already gonna pick, but I'll run them back like I always do. So, best promo Garza Andrade scuffle? Maybe. So we start off with Drew talking in the ring. Adam Pearce crashes the party, playing the Vince McMahon role. Then we had a promo with Lana for some reason, an Angel. We had the thing with Retribution. We had the interview with Mickey. We had the promo with Hurt Business and the security team. We had an interview with Keith. We had an interview with Kevin Owens talking about Alistair. We had Braun entering the door to Raw Underground and then the rest of Raw Underground that happened. And then we had a promo with Seth where he slapped the shit out of Murphy. Then we had the promo with R-Truth. Unable to break the Kit Kats. Then we had an interview with Drew that resulted in fighting Keith Lee. Then we had a promo with Keith and Drew where they were just fighting. And we had that's it. Oh, we had a little Cedric and Hurt Business talking in the ring before their fight. Oh god, you know this is harder than I thought. But you know what? As much as you hate Adam Pearce, I'm gonna give it to Drew talking in the ring, interrupted by Adam Pearce.
Oh God. Break me sometimes. I really do.
Wasn't a good day for promos.
It was a weird day for promos for sure. It felt like there was like, it almost felt like a post pay-per-view.
Yeah, it really did.
Just with the way that like everything was happening all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
What's going on?
I'm looking at my notes now, and I'm like,
What's the plan, Stan?
I think the plan is to go with you. I mean, I can't wear this shirt.
I mean, you can.
No, I'm gonna have to go with you on this. I mean, I always do enjoy listening to Drew talk. We haven't heard Drew talk for hours on end in a really long time. I'm always there for a good little Drew conversation, if you will.
And also, it makes me really interested in what an ambulance match is.
What could that possibly be?
Is it first wrestler to be carried off in an ambulance?
I hope so.
Oh god. Then wait, if that's the case, like if that's the case, Drew is absolutely losing to Randy, and then he's gonna take time off because he's gonna be injured real bad.
Oh, I would not be shocked if Drew ends up losing his title. I would not be shocked that he's going to take time off. My dude needs it. My dude needs a nap.
Yeah, he really does. Now, fighter of the night.
Like that.
Okay, so we started off with Street Profits versus Cesaro and Shinsuke, and my god, there is no other choice here besides Cesaro. The man threw a million European uppercuts today, and then throwing Tez in the air, and then uppercutting him on his way down. Tez lost his head. He lost his head that day.
There's nothing better than a good European uppercut.
Yeah. Cesaro always brings so much personality to his matches. Even like selling moves and just reacting to things. He does such a good job. And then you have his actual fighting, which is unbelievable. And then you move into Cedric Alexander versus Ricochet. I picked Ricochet for this, mostly because of his insane ability to sell moves. And he's just an amazing wrestler. Cedric had some really good moves. Not going to take that away from him. He had an amazing lumbar check. But Ricochet overall, I think, is just the better wrestler. Not better wrestler, but more impressive wrestler. Ricochet is pulling off some great stuff today, but that sell at the end, my god. I think we just need to see Ricochet in like a better environment. One where it's more conducive to his personality, and his sort of character.
I was gonna say we watched WWE main event, and the fight he had with Mustafa Ali was so impressive, and then on top of that, it's like I think that there's something special about the way that he fights people who he's friends with in like real life. Because I know that, okay, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that he's actually friends with Cedric outside of work.
I believe it.
And I know that he and Mustafa are friends outside of everything. I feel like it gives him the ability to perform to a certain level that you might be a little worried about performing to with like another wrestler, someone that you don't normally work with. But both guys performed really well tonight. I think that Ricochet was also supposed to look really good tonight.
Yeah.
But if I have to watch like 15 more of these fights, which I'm sure I will, judging by how Raw is, I'm not gonna complain.
Better than Apollo versus Bobby 15,000 times. Or Apollo versus MVP. So after that, we had Asuka versus Mickie James, Botch City. And I gotta give it to Asuka because she didn't have the botched ending. There's nothing really impressive about Asuka here. Just Mickie James was so goddamn awful. She had one good flying head scissors, and that was it.
I feel bad saying that, but like, they're finally giving her the like wherewithal that she deserves.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight was just so weird, and not entirely her fault. I think a lot of it was also the fault of, the referee, the fault of how weird this match was. I can't totally blame her for it, but she looked just a little funky tonight. She didn't look great at all.
Absolutely.
Maybe the reason that she was just like, I'm done, I'm out, was because like maybe she was just like nauseous, like sick or something. She was just like, I've done my best, I'm going to go puke, goodbye.
Well, no, she was trying to keep fighting, but that was supposed to be where the fight ended.
That was, God. It was a weird match, dude. It was a weird match.
Very weird. But then we had Bobby versus Eric, which ended very fast. So I gotta say Bobby, I guess. Well, Bobby Lash, BL, B-Lash, Bobby L. And then after that we had Seth Rollins versus Dominic. And you know what? I'm gonna say Seth here. Dominic, he looked great the first time around. Today he was kind of just chasing Seth around with the kendo stick. But we're even in his like impressive moves, we're kind of just seeing the same thing over and over. But then we saw the massive fucking superplex off the top of the cage. That was amazing.
Top of the cage is a bit much. It was off the top. Seth was just pulling Dominic off of the cage.
Yeah. Dominic was at the top of the cage. But Seth looked great fighting wise, and then he also brings that personality to all of his fights, but especially today, because I think things were a little different story wise. It felt much bigger, like the stakes might have been a little bigger. but I definitely think he kind of came out the more impressive fighter than Dominic.
Still so sad about Buddy.
Oh well, Buddy shouldn't have slammed that door on his ass.
Yeah, that's fair. Head.
Oh, was it his head?
It was his noggin.
Oh,
Yes.
and then after that we had Kevin Owens versus Alistair. I guess Alistair looked the best. I mean, this was kind of a short fight. I feel like there wasn't much here. Plus, to be honest, I was kind of half paying attention to this fight. But then the whole Retribution stuff happened that just distracted the fight, and you know how much I hate that. But that's more into getting to the fights of the night rather than fighter. And then we move into Riot Squad versus Lana and Natalia, who I'm not even going to pick a fighter for because it ended in 2 seconds. And then we had Drew versus Keith, and Drew definitely looked the best here. Not only was he powerful, but he was incredibly nimble. He was doing so many, I don't know what you call it, I guess like rolls onto Keith that is kind of uncharacteristic of Drew, but I guess that kind of shows his ability to adapt with different wrestlers and him developing different styles depending on who he fights. And couple that with just how goddamn charismatic he is. He really is like one of the best that Raw has right now. I just wish that this fight had ended in an actual ending rather than retribution. Retribute. Yeah. So yeah, I'll pick Drew from that fight. But in terms of my overall fighter of the night, I'm gonna feel real bad about picking this, but I don't care. I'm gonna go with Cesaro for my Raw pick.
And I'm going with Seth Rollins.
You're going with Seth? Oh, okay.
When you said that you were gonna feel real bad about this, I thought it was because you were gonna choose somebody that was beating up a child. But no, I really liked Seth. I really liked how Seth fought. I thought that he did a really good job, and I thought that as far as character is concerned, that also came into play a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that we lose a lot in a lot of fights. And admittedly, it's not something that we lose with Cesaro very often, but a lot of fights, it's rightfully so. It goes, like, I'm a character. Now I'm fighting you. I'm a character. You know.
Yeah, Seth maintains that through everything.
Seth's just a jackass the entire damn time.
That's one thing I don't like about Ricochet is that he does kind of, he's his character and then he fights and then he's his character.
We're getting more of his character in his fights, I think, especially with the way that he treated Cedric tonight.
Yeah. Again, like you were talking about, I think that has to do with him fighting his friends and him kind of having that chemistry with who he's fighting with.
Right. I think that he finally got to, because I mean the way that he like just jumped in and just started pummeling Cedric.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it felt like two friends like on the blacktop, just like, why were you so mean to me today? Like, why were you so rude to me at class? Something like that. That's what that felt like. Mm-hmm. And I really like when that character can finally shine through, and I think that Seth does such a good job of that. And today he, you know, I may have made a joke in that tweet talking about tuning into the Raw post show. Like, damn, dude, I really enjoyed this Seth Dominic match. I feel bad enjoying it.
I'll side with you. I'll go with Seth.
You probably won't side with me for fight of the night, though, so.
Oh, okay. I'm really wondering what you're gonna pick. I have a feeling I know.
Probably do. It's one of two things in your head, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's not a Drew McIntyre.
It's not Drew McIntyre?
Maybe not.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you go first. Go ahead.
Okay. So we started off with Street Profits versus Cesaro and Shinsuke. Really good fight. One of the best fights we had today. Really wish we had an actual cross-brand invitational based on what we saw in this fight. Everyone looked great. Shinsuke looked great. Cesaro looked great. Street Profits looked great. Tez wasn't as great as he normally is, but he wasn't bad. He was still really good. It's hard to dislike a Montez performance. And then we had Cedric versus Ricochet, a heartbreaking fight. That ended with a little retribution. Did this end in a distraction because of retribution? Yeah. Okay, it ended on its own.
Cedric pinned Ricochet.
Yeah, this was a really good fight. I think it was kind of missing just like, I don't want to say it was missing that story element, but it feels like it kind of was. It felt very bare bones compared to some of the other fights that happened today. But just watching these two wrestle any day is super fun. They're both incredibly talented and just fly off the walls, and I know already you're gonna pick this as your fight of the night. Just based on the faces you were making as I was talking about it. But then we move into Botch City, Asuka versus Mickey, which had the wrong ending. I'm gonna skip right over this because this fight was a mess. So then we had Bobby Lashley versus Eric, which ended in 5 seconds, mostly because of an interruption by Retribution. I think. Maybe not, actually. I think it was just... Yeah, no. Okay. Bobby got Eric in a full Nelson. He legit just laid there for 5 seconds. Yeah. And then we had Seth Rollins versus Dominic, which was a very great fight. I think it was the most cinematic of all of the fights today. I think the steel cage really helped. Plus the added elements of Buddy on the outside. Kind of helping to make things even, but also adding that extra story element to Seth, having their relationship kind of change as the fight goes on. You can kind of pinpoint the moments where things went wrong, and then the fight lasted past the actual fight itself, or the story lasted past the fight. And then the Mysterio family on the outside wasn't too distracting. You had Ray opening the door, which I guess is legal. You open the door for somebody. Technically, first one to get out. So if you open the door, I guess that's legal. But I wouldn't say that made the fight any less enjoyable. Dominic and Seth are both incredibly fun to watch. Dominic for his Mysterio fighting style, and Seth for his fantastic charisma and personality. I think this match really had everything, and I think Seth winning it is the best way it could have went. And then we had Kevin Owens versus Alistair, a fight I've really been looking forward to. Unfortunately ended in distraction in a way that it shouldn't have. If it ends in distraction and then suddenly whoever's like behind just comes out and wins, it makes it much worse. But if it's like a distraction, the wrestler kind of plays through it and like tries to fight and stay focused, and there's still a little bit of a match left after that, that's better. That's a great use of that. But this was definitely not it. And I hope we get more of these two because I actually want to see a legitimate, solid match between these two. Then we had Riot Squad versus Lana and Natalya. 5-second fight. Can't really say anything here. And then we had Drew versus Keith, which did not have an ending, unfortunately, because this is a fight. This is the fight I've been looking forward to all week. And although it was a good fight while it lasted, the ending, it legitimately had no ending. I thought when Retribution came and they're all kind of laying on the ground, I thought Drew was going to like crawl over to Keith and pin him. But no, that didn't happen. So, and also it doesn't make sense where that stipulation is going to come into now.
Right, that's what I was going to say, actually. I was going to say, like, where does that lead us now? Because, like, certainly Keith didn't win. Neither did Drew.
I think that pretty much guarantees Randy will be back.
Yeah.
Because he actually posted on Instagram tonight and said that he missed Raw because of personal reasons.
Does that mean that Keith Lee's not going to get his music fixed?
No, definitely not.
Win.
Keith Lee now has to go to the DJ that's in a back alley performing at like a party somewhere.
Aw, Drew had the hookup too. He had CFOS, and like they were on like speed dial. They're like, Drew, we'll do you one favor, and he's like, okay, I've got one favor, but only if Keith wins. And now that Keith hasn't won, they're just like, farewell, sir.
But yeah, that ending definitely made the fight a lot more disappointing, which is so unfortunate because you have two champions fighting each other. So, with all that said, I know you're going to disagree with me, and I'm fine with it. But I'm going to pick Seth Rollins versus Dominic.
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you start something with Seth and not make it Cedric versus Ricochet? I thought we were on the same page here. I thought you were going to disappoint me, but you
No.
Ah, man, dude, come on.
Did you hear me
buddy?
talking about
No.
either fight? Like,
Yeah.
no, I like watching Cedric and Ricochet, but I feel like comparing that with the Seth Dominic fight, there was less substance there.
Yeah, no, I'm not agreeing with you. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. We'll just have to go to the chat for this.
Is
Chat?
Splucha even still around?
I hope so. I miss Splucha. Splucha's here. All right, so.
Splucha's like, I'm here. What's up?
So, fight of the night between Cedric Alexander versus Ricochet and Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio cage match. Steel cage match. Between those two.
I offer you video of our one cat in response.
Cat cam. Also, this is open to anyone in the chat. Give your opinions on the fight of the night tonight.
Yes, if you're in the chat and you have an opinion, give the opinion. We love opinions. Unless they come from one or the other of us.
Which is thinking.
Cat's also thinking.
What's her pick?
She just kind of punched me in the foot, so I don't really know what that means.
Oh, that means she's picking Bobby Lashley versus Eric.
Yeah, she would. She would. She's a big Bobby Lashley fan.
Does she like the full Nelson?
Oh, yeah. I've seen her with Mr. Squirrel.
Yeah. Oh, Sploocha said Cedric and Ricochet maybe.
It was emotional. It was intense, and we have not seen it 591,000 times.
It's true. It's true. And that lumbar check at the end, you can't beat that.
Again, a guttural reaction. For me, personally.
Alright, I'm going to start writing down Cedric and Ricochet, and if anybody comes in with a last minute vote, changes it, we keep going. Cedric Alexander versus...
It will not be Velveteen.
Alright, so fight of the night. Huh?
Velveteen Rabbit. It's a lovely story.
Velveeta.
Or, if it's also Splooch, I will take Velveeta.
So our fight of the night, or I'll run it back. Promo of the night, Drew McIntyre interrupted by Adam Pearce. Fighter of the night, Seth Rollins. Fight of the night, Cedric Alexander versus Ricochet. A very diverse bests of the night. We're just missing a lady in there. Although all the lady fights suck tonight.
They were not good.
So, you want to wrap us out?
I do! Because I opened up our Twitter to also realize that we have 121 followers now.
Yeah, we started with 16.
Very scary, very stressful. Also, you know what? Maybe maybe by Wednesday, when you're running back to the apartment in time to meet up with the podcast, maybe they'll all be gone because they'll be like, "Oh my god, this was the worst mistake I've ever made." But if you watched us tonight and you subscribed and you said this isn't the worst mistake I've ever made, first things first, we really absolutely want to thank Banius for doing the raid and also the giveaway to help us. That was crazy and wild and just so incredibly wonderful, and my heart is full now. So thank you so much, and to everyone who followed, to everyone who was in the chat, thank you so much as well. We could literally sit on our futon and talk about this stuff, but it makes it so much better when we're talking to you guys.
Except Splucha.
Right now, I was going to say, and thank you to our deputies tonight, Mike and Splucha, for not only always joining the podcast because we love your opinions, and we also love that Splucha is literally always there to break a tie, whether it's with Velveteen Dream's name or not. He knows he has some rank. But thank you to both Mike and Splucha for being here tonight. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to everyone who was in the chat. Thank you to everyone. Thank you, Banius, so much. And I would go on for the next 5 hours saying thank yous. So Mark's going to cut me off. But thank you again for the raid. It was really goddamn awesome and kind of crazy.
And if you're watching the podcast and you haven't followed like everyone else, hit that follow button down below. You'll be notified whenever we go live. Hit that little bell too, so you'll get a little email or notification, whatever you have enabled. And then follow us on Twitter. Carrier pigeon, yeah. Follow us on Twitter as well. At the Pinfall Cast, remove the pod. That's a Twitter. We post whenever we go live then, as well as our picks for Fighter and Fight of the Night. In case you missed an episode and still want to know what our picks were. And if you missed part of this podcast, want to check out one of our other episodes of the podcast, check us out on YouTube, the Pinfall Podcast. There, we have a different profile picture, but that will be changed very soon. We have our friend making a lovely profile picture for us to use universally, so that will be our new one. And then follow our personal Twitters as well. I'm at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23. And then follow my personal Twitch as well. Twitch.tv/Mark Cameron. If you're into Pokemon, we are working on something cool, combining the fundamentals of wrestling with Pokemon. Something super cool, never been done before. The Universal Pokemon Federation. It's a combination of a bunch of streamers and a bunch of Pokemon trainers and people who just love Pokemon. So again, twitch.tv/Mark Cameron. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for following and making this one of the best podcasts yet. And we'll see you on Wednesday. I'll try and be here for at least the podcast. I might miss the episode, but I'll be here for the podcast.
You will be.
Good night, everybody.